Well, welcome back, cruisers, and today we are doing a Disney cruise Q&A, and we cannot be more excited. So we asked on our Instagram, by the way, if you don't follow us over there, consider doing that, and we said, hey, do you have any questions? And oh my gosh.
This is the most we've ever had from you guys. Like, it was one of those where like, whoa, what is more? So
it's crazy.
I'm glad we are doing this more often because, there was a lot on there. And we want to try to hit as many as we can.
Definitely. And what's funny is we just asked for these just a few hours ago, so it's confirmation that we need to do this more. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Justin. This is Lacey. Consider subscribing because we do Disney Cruise quite a bit. We have a ton of vlogs on our channel. We also do things like this quite a bit.
We'll also link our playlist down below. Make sure to check that out because it has a lot of informational videos about Disney Cruise. So we made a whole playlist on this. So if you have any other questions maybe we don't get to today or don't get answered, check that out as well.
So the format, if you're new, is we're just going to discuss. We're going to chat just like you're here with us. We have our coffee. Lacey has her iced coffee. I have my hot coffee.
We actually got these cups. We were inspired to get these cups when we went on our last cruise on the Disney Wonder at Tiana's. They have these like there and they just feel, it's so satisfying. Like I love feeling the bubbles on there.
Yeah, we were literally sitting in Tiana's place and I was like, we got to find these. So we went on Amazon and they had like dupes of them.
Yeah, they're so perfect for iced coffee. We also got like smaller ones too. So yeah, loving the new cups.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with this first question because there's a couple of them. And that is, when is your next cruise? We do have a cruise that is booked. But we're not going to talk about that today because we're coming out with a video very soon that's going to talk all about it, what we're doing, the itinerary, all of that. So if you have not subscribed, do that and also ring the bell so you know when that video will come. Ashley_Johnson845 said early versus late dinner. What are some pros and cons?
I mean, for sure pro with early is your kids aren't falling asleep at dinner because ours have done that before because the late dining is pretty late. There's been times where we left around close to 10 o'clock. So I think there's a big pro for early because it's a long day sometimes for the kids and they're tired. So the earlier you get out of there,
I think it really depends if you have kids though. So if you have kids, I would definitely say early for sure because it is very long. The dinners are so long already, and you want your kids alert and awake, or you will be carrying them off to bed every single night, or they'll be like dozing off and literally face planting their face into their pasta. But personally, I actually like late dining better for a couple of reasons. One, it's a little bit quieter in the dining room because there's less people. And number two, I'm so stuffed still. Like, for having a little bit later dining, it helps me just, like, get ready for my meal. Because when the main dining is, like, at, what, 5 something?
I think it's 5:45.
Like, I'm still, like, digesting my lunch, you know? So, I don't know. Those are my things. But, Lacey, you like main dining all around.
I do. Yeah, I just feel like the later dining is it's just too late for me to not eat anything because I don't know, unless I have like a really late lunch, I find myself being like, I need to have a little something to hold me over before dinner because I'm starving. So by the time 8:15
you're starving
rolls around,
I'm just getting hungry.
Yeah, but I don't mind it. Like when it was just us when we did our cruise, I thought it was nice. Like Justin said, it is quieter because most families with young kids do want the earlier dining because it's you know, you're not getting out of there so late. But if like all around with kids and just my personal choice, I like the main.
Now there is one reason why I like main dining more than late, and that is because I prefer going to the show after dinner. I'm more of like a dinner and show kind of person, not a show and dinner kind of person. It's just I just like that. I like eating
then go to the show.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because what happens with me is I fill up on popcorn. So that's another issue.
That is true.
Because I have to have popcorn in the show. It's illegal not to have it.
Right.
But yeah, I say when we're cruising with our kids, we're always doing main. When it's adult, we'll decide what we'll do. We don't really care too much, I would say. I don't know. There is something for me about late dining that I like, just because I feel like you have to, another thing to talk about is you have to like stop your activities a lot sooner. It seems like with the main dining than you do it for late dining.
Yeah, I did think about that when we were looking at the itinerary of different things going on because we had late this last one. I was like, oh, we're able to hit this trivia or hit this class or, you know, animation or something before dinner because there's usually stuff going on that time when we would have the early dinner. So there's that as well. But overall, I like Maine, early dining. You like the late, take it or leave it. It's just, I mean, with kids, I would just really suggest the early dining. And then with that, a tip, if you, if this is your first time booking, definitely request that early because they do fill up. Disney does a good job. I've heard of people doing it last minute and they'll say they're full, but putting you on like a waiting list. Most people can get in. So that is nice as well.
The main dining will always fill up for sure. So just keep that in mind when you're booking.
Okay, I am just for said tips for first time nursery users. So I would really suggest on embarkation day when they have the open house, definitely go to the nursery during that time. And they have like paperwork you can fill out early and just get to know the place because that's an open house time. So you can walk around there, see everything, get almost like a little, tour of the place and do it with your baby or your toddler or whatnot. Because once you set sail and the nursery is like open for business and the open house is over, it gets really booked really fast and people are in line filling out the paperwork, getting their kids, babies checked in and whatnot. So it's nice just to have that all done early. So then when you do want to use it, you don't have to go through that process.
Yeah, and you kind of have like their undivided attention during that time. That's usually our first stop when we get on the ship is we head to the nursery for that open house because it's just not as busy. I mean, there's people there obviously, but not when you set sail. And you kind of have you can really take time and feel like you can ask questions and not feel like there's people like in line waiting to get kids checked in.
Right. So, and it's nice meeting the staff then too.
Definitely. Because
then when we did like bring Junie back, they're like, oh, it's Junie. And they already met her before. So it makes them feel more comfortable and you feel more comfortable. So that's cool too.
And then you have a chance to kind of look over the Navigator app and kind of see kind of what's happening for that day or whatever. And you can even make reservations right there on the spot too. So if you're realizing, oh man, that'd be really cool to check out that show tonight or whatever, then when you're there, you can start building those out or even beyond that first day as well. Charlie_Pompido, I think. Which ships do you think are more fun for kids, the older ships or the newer ones? Okay, 100% the newer ones.
Agreed.
Now, and I'm talking about not just like the Treasure and the Wish. I'm talking also like the Dream, the Fantasy, that class as well. The kids will love it too. I think just the wonder and the magic. Your kids are gonna have fun. They are. Our kids have been on those ships too. But us going from the Wish and the Treasure to back to the Wonder, there's just not as much going on on those ships than the bigger ones.
Right, for sure.
And I think with our kids being on those newer ships and going back to the Wonder and Magic, I just don't think they're gonna have as much. They're gonna have fun, but they're going to be like, what about this? What about this? Because they just don't have it. There's less activities. There's a lot less things going on.
Yeah, and it depends on your kid's age and what they like.
100%.
What they like to do, too, because, like, our boys really loved, like, the Hero Zone to play basketball and all of that. And on the older ships, it's out on the deck, and at the Treasure and the Wish, it's covered, which is brilliant because
it gets super windy
up there. It gets windy, and when you're sailing, and so they loved hanging out in there. So just things like that they've just updated, and the kids club. I mean, I think about the slide, like not having the slide to go into the kids club on the other ships. It's like, oh man.
I know. Or the Aqua Mouse, all that kind of stuff. But I guess, like Lacey said, it really depends on the age of your kids.
Yeah.
Because when our kids were younger, I mean, they absolutely loved it. It's just a Disney cruise. There's so much to do. But with our kids being like 8, 9, that kind of age, it's like they want to be more entertained. And I think with the older ships, they really have their heart. We are going to reserve those older ships for us personally, just like an adult cruise. We just went on an adult cruise, and we have those vlogs as well, but that was something that we never ever wanted to do without the kids. But I talked Lacey into it for our anniversary, and now she's like, okay, I can go on the older ships without the kids. The newer ships, no, I can't. But the older ships, we're like, okay, at least we can reserve the older ships for the adults. Yeah. Bottom line, if your kids are around our age, I would definitely do the newer ships. But again, they're still going to have fun on the older ships. You know what I mean? But if you're asking this question, if you really want our opinion, I would say they're going to be a lot more entertained. There's a lot more to do on the newer ships.
Okay, I think this is Claws on Elizabeth. It says, how do I convince my family to go on a Disney cruise? So we actually just did a video, so have your family watch it, and we talked about why we love Disney cruise. It's so funny because some of the comments, and actually one of our friends was like, I'm going on another cruise line, but now you're making me want to go on Disney. So we just kind of share a lot of the reasons why we love it, a lot of the benefits, because I know there's so many different cruise lines to choose from. So maybe have your family watch that. But I don't know. I think it just depends on what you guys all want to do as a family. I know that's hard to like convince, but there's so much for everybody to do. And we talk a lot about that in the video, just for every family member, no matter where they're at, all generations. So
are they, and I guess what the question is, it's hard because I have another follow-up question. Would they want to like actually watch a video of like a highlight reel of it to get them inspired or whatever? Or is it just more of like they already have seen that, but they're still not sure? Because we came out with our whole entire 3-day cruise on the Wish under like 30 minutes. For that reason. So it's kind of like a promo video for you to grab and send to friends and family.
Just to get an idea of what
it is. And it kind of gives a really good overview. We're actually making one for the Treasure as well that will be coming out, which is a 7-night. Trying to do that under 30 minutes. I don't know, but we'll try. So maybe those will help.
But anyways, yeah, just check out those videos. Maybe that'll help a little bit and just kind of warm them up to the idea.
Brooke_Bolby said, what type of room do I need for 3 adults and 2 kids? Do I have to pay for 2 rooms? Thanks. You'll want to get the deluxe family room. That one will actually have a Murphy bed that comes down so you can fit the 3 adults. And then they have the bunk bed for the 2 kids. And we usually do the deluxe family like veranda. So there's like a little balcony, and it gives you just some more room to kind of spread out. Because sometimes, you know, the kids are still sleeping, or maybe one of the adults are still sleeping, and then you can still go out on the patio, get some fresh air, and kind of wake up with some coffee or something like that. So if that's what I would recommend. You don't have to do 2 rooms. 2 rooms will give you more space.
Right. We've done both.
We've done both.
2 rooms,
but I would just say opt for the veranda and stay in the same room.
Okay, Indy Jean said, are excursions worth it? Is it better to just explore the ports on your own? We've done a few excursions, and we did one on our last cruise. We did ATVs. It was so great, and people we've talked to that have done excursions, there's been some that are like, it wasn't really worth it, but then we've heard some that have been really great too. So if you guys have done some excursions, comment down below just to kind of help everybody out with that, because I think that's one area that's just, I don't know, it's hard to know for sure if it's worth it or not, depending on what you're looking for. But if there's something you really want to do, I would definitely recommend it. I feel like Disney, like, you know, gives you really good, like, you know, safe ones that they recommend. And so that's nice. And they lay it out for you. Our process of like going to it and getting back was just really nice, really seamless.
And as far as exploring the port on your own, we do that quite a bit. It honestly just depends on your vacation, like maybe like how old your kids are. I know our next cruise coming up, we plan on doing a couple excursions just because our boys are at a perfect age for that. But this last cruise, we didn't do like any excursions because it was just kind of, the one we did with you and I, but with the kids, because we had, you know, our 2-year-old, and she, you know, she's a 2-year-old, and so we didn't do too much, but we did explore the ports and kind of hang out. And that was fun, but there's only so much you can really see at the ports. Now, there are some ports where it's actually pretty easy to explore on your own. There's actually a lot to do, but there's some ports that you really need to actually book an excursion because they drive you somewhere else, and you only can see so much at the port. So it really depends on the port, for sure. J. Maxwell Certain said, how do you balance shooting content with enjoying the cruise? This is a kind of fun question for those of you who vlog or, you know, want to film your experience. I think we've been vlogging for so long now that we just kind of have a balance, I think, with things where I know if I just need to put the camera down, you know, you just kind of find that balance. But it's not really like a thing where it's a burden to us. It's kind of actually how I relax, actually, is going around the ship, getting content. It's a passion point for me. It might be a little bit different, so I don't really feel like it's like I'm not enjoying my vacation. That is how I actually enjoy vacation as well. But there is some times where I just leave our camera gear in the stateroom and then we just go hang out. When we go by the pool, for example, like I'll set up my phone or set up my camera, do a time lapse or whatever, and I'm just sitting there enjoying it. Again, you see our vlogs, they're like average 30, 45 minutes. Okay, we're talking, you know, a 12, 13 hour day. So there's a lot of hours in between. And yeah, it's edited down, so maybe there's a couple hours of content, but still it's boiled down. So there's a lot of rest, a lot of renew that happens on the ship. But I think the more you vlog, the more you gather content for these cruises, the more you're going to find a balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it just depends on what we're doing, because there's some times where we're just excited and we want to like share everything and like, you know, something we're eating
we're journaling,
or something we're doing or an activity or a show. But I mean, then there's times where I'm like, I want to be in the moment, and I forget even about like, I'm like, oh, that would have been cool to vlog. Sorry, you know? Yeah. So it just depends. But again, I agree. We've just been doing it for so long that it's just, we really enjoy it, and it would be weird not to do it for us, because it's just like part of how we do our vacations.
Another thing
as well.
is like we really want to make sure we're capturing it so we can bring it back for you guys, but also for us to rewatch again and our kids to rewatch, you know. And so that's always really important for us too. But another thing is like the Broadway shows on Disney Cruise. It's awesome because you can't film, and so there's moments like that where you're like really in the moment, and it feels kind of nice that you actually cannot do it. Because if you could, I probably would bring a camera in there to show you guys. But yeah, you find the balance, you just do. But if you're getting overwhelmed or you feel like it's stressful, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Just put it down. But I don't know. We just find joy in it.
Okay, Emily Gerber 98 said, going on the Treasure next Saturday. Oh, I'm so
my
jealous.
gosh.
And what is something we cannot miss as adults? So, do you drink coffee, Emily? Because if you do, I would definitely hit up all the fun coffee shops on the Treasure. We had so much fun doing that. I would say
Cafe.
maybe you. Yeah. And then the Jade Cricket.
Yeah.
They're just really fun to meet the people there. They're
like
fantastic.
Sit at the bar. Don't just get to go. Like sit at the
it's
bar
an experience.
and ask for an actual mug. You know what I mean? And just sit there.
Yeah.
And people watch.
Yeah.
And just take a moment.
That's
that was fun.
Yeah. And then if you're into like behind the scenes stuff, I'm thinking, because you said as an adult, do the tour.
That was great.
You did that. You said that was really cool.
Yeah. You'll need to go to guest services and reserve that.
Right.
I didn't have it reserved. I went there and they found me a slot. So
it is free though.
It is free, definitely.
Yeah. So that would be a fun thing to do.
That was awesome, actually. It was one of those things where I did it and I was just like, oh, I feel like I didn't learn too much. I feel like I knew a lot of it. And then like throughout the cruise, I'm just spitting out all these facts, and Lacey's like, I think you learned a lot. And I was like, yeah, I think so.
It was one of those things I'm like, well, tell me something. Because I was with the kids when he did it, and he's like, yeah, like I feel like I knew a lot of it.
Classic guy, you know.
But then like it kept coming out throughout the day. I was like, oh.
It's like one of those things where like I go out and hang out with guys. Like, how was that? What do you guys talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Not much. And then throughout the week, I'm just like telling everything.
It just unravels.
It's what it is.
Yeah. But what else? I mean, for sure, check out the Haunted Mansion bar.
Yeah,
that's so cool. There's just so much.
The Rose. Check out the Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't do.
I know. I so
regret it.
Enchante, like if you can get reservations, I would. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about that. I wish we did that.
I wish we would.
It just means we have to
well.
come back.
I know.
It's gonna happen. It's fine.
Yeah.
But the Rose is something that I'm kicking myself. I went in there and looked at it. It was gorgeous, but I'm like, I don't know why we didn't just go in there.
Yeah.
We had 7 days.
Only area.
I don't know.
Yeah, we could have put the kids in the kids club.
But I would just say, like, you know, just do those things that you actually need to be in the moment with. Like, for example, like sitting at the coffee bar and just taking a moment, drinking a cup of coffee and people watch. Like, those are the things I always come back from a cruise, like, just remembering and thankful I did, you know? Not so much, like, the shows and for all those reasons, yes, but it's always those little things of just not going to the next, but just taking a moment and just like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't miss those moments.
Yeah, I also would suggest just taking time to appreciate all the art, like go through every level and see it, good. Maybe with a drink and just walk around. And then as far as the gift shops go, a lot of people, like the Mickey's main sale, they have everything. But go to Treasures Untold. That's the one that's closest to the theater, the Walt Disney Theater. Yep. We found some really great...
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
If you want merch there, I would definitely check that out too.
Yep.
I'm so excited for you. Happy sailing.
T-Paul920 said, do you use the Visa Chase credit card to accumulate onboard spending money? We do have the Chase card, for sure. And we use it for a lot of our Disney vacations. I don't really book our Disney cruise on that. I use other travel cards that give you a lot better points. If you know, as of late, I've been really into the point game with credit cards, and so I've learned a lot Maybe I'll do a video on it once I learn more. I feel like I need to be professional with this because there's a lot to learn. It's great to have it for the merch because you get 10% off. If you're gold status for the Castaway Key, you get 10% off. But if you're not that, then that gives you 10% off on all the merch. So that's great to have, as well as you get discounts for the spa. So there's good perks that way.
Yeah.
So we definitely carry it, and then we use it for time and time again, usually on merch and stuff, and we accumulate money that way. But we don't put a lot of money through it because it's just not the best.
We like it too with when we go to the parks, you get like special like photo sessions like in Disneyland, and they have like a Star Wars one, and I know they have it in Disney World we used to. And I wish they would do that for the cruise. That'd be kind of nice.
That would be pretty cool.
They had like a special spot for if you have a card to get a free photo. But anyways, we use it because of that as well. But
it's definitely valuable to have for any kind of Disney trips. It's just how we use it is a little bit different than maybe some. Emil 1020 said, favorite food on the Treasure. This is really hard, but I have to say that we have this on the Wish as well, and I actually look forward to it when we go on the Wish class ships, and that is the peppered steak at 1923. I absolutely love it. I love the sides with it. I love everything about it. It's just a really good steak, and so I would have to say that that's one of my favorites. But I also loved the like the black pasta noodles at Marble. Maybe because it was just black. And I absolutely love that. It was just a really cool look of a pasta dish.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I remember it being really good too. It was really recommended to us. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of some other ones that really stood out. I know Coco, the last night of Coco, I really ended up like loving the menu. And then what we got, I think I got some kind of fish dish. You have to go back and watch our vlogs because I'm sure we talked about it. Yeah. But it was really good. I do remember at Coco they had a enchilada as an appetizer, which was crazy because it was like really hearty and filling. And you're like, okay, I have to eat a main course after this. But that was really, really good.
Yeah, their appetizers were like heavy, but they're good.
Yeah.
And the empanadas were really good as well. There's just a lot of good food on the Treasure. But honestly, like the Festival of Foods on the Treasure and Wish, it's just amazing. Like you could do lunch, you could also just do dinner there too. It's hard to pick out your favorite because there's so many things.
I mean, for me, if you're doing the Wish or Treasure and you go to the Festival of Foods, I love getting the ribs there, the sweet potato fries. They're so good. And then, as always, chicken strips. So
with honey mustard.
With honey mustard. And it was interesting on the Wonder, they did not have it like available. And I'm like, can I get honey mustard? And she's like, I had to go back and like bring it out for me. I'm like,
interesting.
Where's your honey mustard?
What are you guys doing to me?
Leisha Pakisha, that's so cute. When you go from debarkation to Walt Disney World, what do you do with your luggage? So we're actually working on a whole disembarkation video coming soon. So that's a great question. And what you'll do is, I mean, let's back it up. So the night before you get off the cruise, you'll put your luggage outside of your room if you've never done it before, and then they'll collect your luggage. And then in the morning, you'll go pick it up after you like get off the ship and you do customs and whatnot, and you'll have like a certain area of like a Disney character. And so wherever that section is, you'll grab your luggage from it, and then so you're asking from the ship to Walt Disney World, we got on Disney transportation, and then we just took our luggage to them, and they loaded it in there in the bus underneath, and then took us to our resort and got it off there. So it was pretty simple. And
actually the port that doesn't work for that though is Port Lauderdale. So if that's your port, you have to find a different kind of transportation, because as of right now, with the filming of this video, they don't have Disney transportation for that port, which is unfortunate. But Port Canaveral, does, and that's kind of the main port. So I'm not really sure what port you're talking about.
Right, yeah, it does depend on that. But with Port Canaveral, it's really nice because when you get off, you're going to have people saying, like, where are you going? Is it airport? Is it a resort? To go to Disney World? And so they'll really help you get to where you need to go.
And they also have guys who will load up your luggage for you on dollies to take it over there, which is nice too. Which we'll talk more about this in a video. Yeah. Because we do have a video coming out, like Lacey said. That'll go in a lot more detail. But yeah, it's really nice because we absolutely love it, because it's like it keeps you in that whole Disney bubble. From the cruise to your transportation to your resort. It's fantastic. KM Duna 01, I think. Love your channel. Thank you. 4 nights on the Wish and 3 days in the park, or 7 nights in the Treasure. Oh my gosh. We could possibly do an entire video over this one question.
I know. We talked about this a lot after doing doing both.
Oh, this is a hard question.
Yeah.
Very good question, but it's a hard question. For us, we're kind of the same thing where it's either like a 7-night cruise and then we just go home, or it's going to be a shorter cruise in the parks, because 7 nights is just a long time to be traveling, especially with kids and all that kind of stuff. We get that. When we went on the Wish and we went to Walt Disney World, we talk about that trip a lot. Okay, we'll link that whole vlog series of Walt Disney World, because we also talk about like the disembarkation as well of getting off the ship and then heading to the beach club. We talk about that. So we'll link all those videos below. But that was such a fun vacation, because I felt like we had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I also absolutely do not like ending my vacation on the Disney cruise for some reason. Like, you have to get up. It's so early. Getting back home is always such a thing for us. It's like,
the flights
honestly,
never work
it's
out. They're
probably
so
better.
Bad.
It is. It's better for us to stay in a hotel one more night, but then it's just like, why don't we just go in the parks? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I rather, honestly, if I were in your shoes right now, I would probably say 4 nights in the Wish and 3 days in the park.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about
it's
that.
It's hard because I absolutely love the treasure. I absolutely love it.
Loved it. And it was so nice to have that much time to do all the things that we didn't get to do on the Wish, because we had more time to explore.
But this is a 4-night on the Wish. Ours was a 3-night.
That's true.
So 1 extra day.
But we really, I just don't do well being at sea and then getting on a plane in the same day. And so I did so much better, like, having a day, like, we got off our ship and we were just able to go to a resort and check it out, go to Disney Springs, just kind of have a chill day, and then hit the parks. And I really liked that trip because of that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the travel was just a little bit easier on everybody. So
yeah. I think
it's
a great question, because it's a good question.
Calla Daly said, would love packing tips. Are there sand toys at Disney Islands? Snorkels? ? Yes, to both. So snorkels you can rent, and you can also bring your own. We did that on our last trip, and we rented some for the kids, me and Landon.
Yeah.
Snorkeled. We had a blast. So you can get that. Sand toys you can purchase. We've done that probably every time we've gone there, and
we leave them.
We left one on the bus. We brought one home, and our dog got to it. Anyways, something always happens to ours. We just joke about it, but there's just like a lot to sand toys with packing. So you can get really cool, like, collapsible ones.
They actually sell them now at Castaway Cay.
Oh, do they?
They have collapsible ones now.
Oh, nice.
And they probably have heard us. and they probably seen how many like sand toys have been left behind because they can't fit it in their suitcase.
Right.
You know?
I think about that too. Maybe people bring them back on the ship, and then when they're packing, they're like, they just leave them in their room because they're like, I can't fit this in my suitcase. But yeah,
we can't even get it back to our room.
Right.
Like, we just randomly leave it on the island. But actually, our friends were just there. Actually, they had an entire Disney treasure vlog series that came out. Tyler and Jessica Braun will link their channel. But they were showing that there's a whole bin of like leftover sand toys from people.
In like Scuttle's Cove. Yeah. Well, it wasn't necessarily leftover. It was just sand toys for the kids to use. They're joking. These are probably everybody.
But honestly,
it's probably the case.
I'm just saying, it could be that.
But you also said would love packing tips. We have a lot of videos, so check out the playlist we talked about at the beginning of our packing tips, things to bring. That'll be really helpful because there's a lot of things you're going to want to bring on your cruise.
Lots. Well, guys, I feel like we haven't made a dent in these questions, and there's still more coming in. So I think we may have to like do another video, another Disney cruise video just to answer these. That way this video is more palatable because it can be really long.
But thank you guys so much, because these are also really great ideas for future videos as well.
Yep. Oh my gosh, I just refreshed it and there was like 7 new ones that are like really good questions too. So we're definitely going to have to do this. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We love you guys so much. We try to do a Disney-related video every Saturday. So again, if you have not subscribed, do that. Ring the bell so you know we have new videos. And again, we do lifestyle vlogs. I'm also headed out of the country here pretty soon. I'm going to have a video coming out that has our 2025 like packing essentials, our travel essential video. So look out for that, as well as vlogging that trip too. But anyways, we love you guys so much, and thanks for supporting our channel and all the ways you do. We love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.